Yo, 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 yo. Yes, my people, it's another episode of Blocks to Bags. Today, I am with a CBD entrepreneur, infused olive oil, drops of Hill, award-winning entrepreneur who has just won the Gordon Ramsay show, which was last year. And I'm looking forward to chatting with my boy Andy and figuring out a little bit about the murky waters of being in CBD, the amazing waters of having a business in grocery, and then also the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship in 2023. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'm your boy Beach. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Thank you for having me, Bejay.
I called it murky waters.
Yeah.
Because CBD is something that is so powerful in recovery for a lot of people. Sports people recommend it. Physicians recommend it for a lot of different things. For people with long-term conditions, it has taken a while to get into food and nutrition and in the drinks industry. There are obviously some brands that we can name that have done really well, like Trip and others. There's obviously was a rise over the last couple of years of ashwagandha and lion's mane and magnesium. So I think magnesium before going to bed. And there's these things that you can do that make you feel relaxed or make you have better recovery. Why CBD in olive oil?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there was a couple questions in there, but to start, thank you for having me. But when we go into CBD, like we're looking at sort of, for my own story, I got into it because I was looking for like a natural ailment for what, I was going through at the time. I have arthritis in my left knee. So for me, my biggest thing was like pain and sleep and stuff. It was starting to affect that. But I think like we see a plethora of things that, or reasons that people take CBD. I think a lot of people you see like, with your physical state, whether it's like pain or stress or something like that. But then you've got a lot of like mental reasons a lot of people take it. So for like stress, anxiety and so on. That's without me making a medical claim. And like you said, you've got a lot of people now going down the sort of like adaptogenic, nootropic sort of mushroom vertical. For myself, I started taking CBD and it was great. I found like a great result from it. But that was at the time where CBD mainly came in like drops and in the tincture form, right? You had them.
Remember that? Yeah, in the tongue.
Under the tongue.
1, 2,
How long were you holding it for?
30 seconds, a minute.
Like
nasty.
It's probably like very muddy and green and so on. So, and also it's expensive. Like CBD is expensive. What goes into CBD and etc. is expensive. But especially now you've started to see the sort of like market separate a bit. You've got your topicals, which is typically going to be for like your pain and so on, which you see like Pure Sport do very well in. Now you've got like your single-use beverage, like Trip, who are doing very well. I mean, these companies aren't paying me, but I'm mentioning them. And for myself, I thought number one, I'm part Syrian, part Irish, right? So traditional background, the idea of CBD, the taboo of it, kind of like was like, why are you getting into CBD? Why are you doing this? But into an olive oil, it kind of normalizes the product itself. Logistically and efficacy wise, why olive oil? Well, it's fat soluble CBD. It's paired with olive oil. It's a great mix. Secondly, it's something that we all probably, I'm sure you go home, open your kitchen cupboard, you're gonna have an olive oil in there. So, when I started, this is my first proper venture into business or in entrepreneurship in general, going into a product business and then into a murky waters industry like CBD. It's just, I often question why I did it in the first place. But yeah, I think it just made the most sense. So that's why olive oil.
So you mentioned first business. This is a show where, we celebrate people who've done really well, people who are starting out. We like to give like practical gems and tips to people on their journey and as they look to kind of make the next steps. What are some things that you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
I don't even think me now could converse with me back then. Not that I wouldn't. I definitely would. Like,
give us 3 things then. Just so someone trying to take their first steps right now.
Yeah. I think the first thing is to don't underestimate yourself and don't overestimate the obstacle. I think that's my first thing, because like you approach something and it's just like, you make a mountain out of a molehill. It's like, this is the biggest thing. Oh my God, it's going to be so hard to do this. And I had everyone discourage me to get into business. But that's number one. I'd say one of the things I always say is like, fail hard, fail fast. I think through just process of elimination, like I kind of ended up at this product. So not so much what went really well. It was kind of like what tanked, that's what I'm staying away from. And I don't think that mindset is for everything, for every situation, but especially when you're first starting out, like not having that sort of fear of failure, that's imperative. I think that's something that you can really like, when you start to hone that, the idea of getting closer to your end product or your end goal is far greater. And we say one more. What would I have to say? It's cliche, but just back yourself. Like, the beginning is going to be hard. I think, especially now, if I was to redo this whole thing again, I'd probably be a lot more strategic, a lot more calculated, you know, and I'd probably have a much different method of like kind of getting to what I want to do, whether it be a service-based business, product-based or so on. And, you know, being able to establish and look at gaps in the market. But back then it was just like, what am I going through as a consumer? What do I need to sort? And I think there was almost a wisdom to that naivety of just being like, I can jump into this, right? I think every entrepreneur somewhere down the line, you know, you mentioned before, entrepreneurships is very sexy right now. It's the in thing, but you need some sort of naivety to believe you can conquer. Like,
Gotta have that belief.
Yeah, man.
What have been some of the biggest wins so far? Obviously, I didn't really go into everything. I mentioned you guys won the Gordon Ramsay TV show. But yeah, tell me some of the wins that have given you confidence to continue doing this, because confidence is a big part of continuing in business.
Yeah, I'd say it was like the micro wins for us. It wasn't like we've had a really rocky journey because we launched day of lockdown. So of the first lockdown. So to launch that day, you know, being able to just survive lockdown kind of kicks you on, and that in itself is a win. It's like, man, if I can survive lockdown, I'll survive anything. Like, as we're seeing now, it's a bit of a harder economic time, especially. But like, yeah, it's the small wins to me. The little emails I get from customers to say exactly what this oil is doing for them. And again, because of, you know, the legislation and the inability to make medical claims, because it's a food, it's not a drug. By being able to get sort of validation from our customers of what it's doing, they're huge for us. Like, they really make my day, because a lot of the times I'm gone. I'm like, no sleep. I'm some days I just don't feel like it. And then just getting a little email like that, that's huge for me. That really kicks me on. But I mean, notably is obviously winning Gordon Ramsay Future Food Stars. I mean, I was on there with 11 entrepreneurs. I'd say I was probably like the lower end in terms of like size of business, turnover, so on. And, you know, to go on there and just to win it, I think it's not just a big win for me. It's a big win for CBD as a whole in the industry. You know, we've got a co-signed by essentially one of the biggest chef in the world. It's huge.
Nice. Love that. I've done the business for a while, done like different businesses, different industries. If you could ask me any questions around marketing, around business, what would they be? Obviously, we've been talking for a while, and I'm such a big fan of, you know, sharing notes, and I don't want to just impart random knowledge, but if we were doing a bit of a dilemma, give us a dilemma you're going through at the moment, or just anything that you're thinking about future gazing that we can maybe brainstorm together and get the audience to also get involved.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's actually that's a cool concept. All right, so I have an olive oil business, right? Let's say I want to venture off. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah. So right now we make CBD olive oil, right? But we're seeing, like we said, a real split in the market with quite targeted products. So you got topicals, drinks. Right now we're trying to go the food route. But let's say we wanted something that wanted to be a different type of product, right? How would you sort of survey the market to see if that's the right vertical to go down?
Surveying the market is going to change depending on what it is that we're considering. So I think for me, a few things you can do, which are very easy to do before you burn too much cash, is bringing some of your best, most regular customers together and some of the best minds that you know together. So holding roundtables, holding ideation workshops where 20 people come and you do 3 different ones, 3 groups of 20. Mixture of customer, future customer, but definitely customer, and people that back you. And what you're looking to get from that session is a good group thinking about where else could the brand live. And then number 2, you want to get their viewpoint on how much things should cost. And then the last thing is their habits currently in 2023. A good opportunity to present some stuff potentially. So that it acts as a stimuli for the workshop. But I think doing sessions like that could be quite powerful for the brand, as you're not going to just get my mind, you'll get the
Plethora,
community,
right?
the plethora, and you can, I would sign up for it, but so would a few other marketing people, salespeople, because they've seen you on Gordon Ramsay, you got loads of goodwill. So I'd go with that. You got people that that'll have a meeting with you, so why not make the meeting a workshop where your food is provided, cooked with your CBD olive oil,
Yeah.
and we have a conversation about what else Drops of Hills could do. To second that, what I'll do next is, I think I mentioned cooking there. Like, let's sit down with the product and use it for a little bit. And whilst using it, maybe host a supper club. So maybe of that first thing is a supper club, but I'd host a series of supper clubs, which acts
Like a
as
nice sort of like marketing activation.
exactly,
Yeah.
And it works well with food and olive oil, but it allows you to tell stories, because building in public is going to get you guys
Yeah.
momentum. So you've got this like whole offline experience happening where, in terms of speed, you could drop a newsletter and get people to sign up for different supper clubs in the next 6 months or the next 3 months. You've got a consistent pattern. You can have one a month, one every 2 weeks, one a week, whatever pattern you need. And then you can find champions. You're going to find people who work in really interesting businesses that you can do interesting things with. And then you can then take that online. So you're documenting it. We've got 3 cameras filming us today.
Yeah, yeah.
Get 2 cameras, 3 cameras, film it. Film the experience. What do people learn? What people like
Almost
in?
like create them avatars, like
Exactly.
people in there and just be able to
And
build,
then-
like you said, a story.
And then for me, it's about now finding a niche. Like, are we going to do CBD supper clubs? Are we going to do CBD? If we're going to stay in the product lane, are we actually going to do tackle other liquid forms of things that people can make as a culinary accessory when they're cooking their meals, if it's not olive oil?
I.e.
Like,
marinades and
Yeah.
vinaigrettes and so on.
So play around with some samples. You might even do a challenge where you get like 20 upcoming chefs who've just graduated to work with you
Yeah.
on taking the Drops of Hill identity and ethos and coming back with a proposition where they win some cash
Yeah.
to make the first product with you guys and get equity in it for the first year.
Yeah, so you've
So-
almost built something.
Yeah, but you document all of that. And
Yeah.
you probably can create maybe 50 to 100 assets of TikToks, Instagrams, and you end every video with a vote. So now you're engaging your audience as well with an extra layer of voting. And you've now done something co-created with, like, from qualitative perspective, with a very deep audience. But then you've also got that extra layer of people voting and being part of the
it's just
process.
like enhanced or sort of like incubated community, right?
Exactly. But that way of doing it can be low overhead, because it can just be you shoot on an iPhone. It allows more accessibility. So people are like, oh, sign me to the waiting list.
Yeah, yeah,
That could be a thing that you're just always talking about. And then it allows you to niche off as well. So you could literally work with food pages to distribute the vote of like, where would you see like CBD to be in 2024 in your food?
Yeah.
And you start with like, it's already in cans of drinks. It's already in olive oil. Where next? And you get like this global challenge going, people submitting. So I think
Point.
that for me would be like a good way that I would, if I was with you guys, a good process to get people engaged, get a lot more ideas, refinement, and then also have a campaign that drives up a lot of traffic to the site.
No, it's super relevant, like everything you've said as well, because it's like almost going back to what you were saying, like we can't make any medical claims in any sort of content that we produce, any copy or so on. So again, going back to like people's story around CBD, it's one of the biggest things that we can do is just like show reviews and so on. So yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah. What did you learn from being on TV? Lots of people want to be on TV. They want to, pitch their business on Dragon's Den,
Yeah.
or pitch it on The Gordon Show, or pitch it on national TV. Like, what's the mindset like to get on a show?
For me, I think everyone's is different. For me, it's to not have one, is to like essentially just to kind of forget the cameras are there. I don't think like I would strike myself as someone who's the camera type or the person who you put in front on top of a BBC main channel at prime time and so on. But I think that's kind of like why it worked for me. It's just because it's not something that I prioritized. I wanted to, for me, it's like I'm learning. Like I'm on there, it's complete exposure. I mean, companies, they can't even run ads on BBC One. So just to be able to have your brand on there, if that's not a driving force as it is, it's like...
That's a big thing.
Yeah, like you're getting something essentially money can't buy. And then on top of that, it's like, I had 2 things in my head, and it's just like how and why. and that's it. As long as I had them two things, I'm good. And I had them pretty strong in my head throughout the 9 weeks.
What was a how and a why?
How was being myself. I feel like my work rate and just my ability to always want to learn, and that sort of like, I'll pick someone's brain in the street if I feel like they can, you know, give me something. I feel like you're never too sort of dumb to teach, never too smart to learn sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. I felt like every week that went on a different challenge and so on, I knew there was an art and a science to it. And it was like, I can pick up something here, whether it's from other contestants, whether it was from, you know, the actual experts on the show. That's, you know, you're throwing yourself into the deep end, especially from my position. And then the why that's the easiest part, like not just for my business, not for what it's going to do for me, but also why am I doing this whole thing? Like I feel it's probably, some people might feed a bit of disdain, but it's like, I'm, as selfish as it sounds, I'm doing it for my family. Like that's why I do all of this. Like why I was trying to pursue a rugby career, why I was doing business. That's probably like the foundational reason. I'm sure at some point I'll completely conquer that and that's gonna be gone. But it will still just be self-discovery and like just bettering myself. I feel like I know the sort of person I can be, so why would I sort of like be stagnant?
There's a lot that's come out there in terms of like mindset, work rate, thinking, improving. How has your mindset towards work and your mindset towards work rate changed over the years?
I feel like it's probably been refined. I wouldn't say it's changed so much. I feel like I always had a very strong ethos around application and working. I had a job from young, like young. And we were just, at home, I was always taught that, you know what I mean, single parent household, mum working several jobs to just make do. There's a wisdom to that, do you know what I mean? And I feel like that was installed from young, vicariously, just seeing that hustle. But I feel in terms of like going down all of these different paths and say, for example, being on the show, having the business, failed career in something else, they sort of refine perseverance and persistence and stuff. Plus what I do outside of all of this, you know what I mean? I have a life. Like,
yeah.
I train, and I think even that's all sending me towards just a more polished, callous mind, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I love that. You mentioned training is so important for the mind, for the body, for the soul. What are you currently training on, and what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs who are thinking of incorporating a better training lifestyle to their work?
I think it's probably the one non-negotiable. Like in this, I feel like there's, of course, you're gonna have imposter syndrome in entrepreneurs. You're gonna have certain things that, you know, we're all a bit wacky, I think, and I think we all have our own little variables. But the one thing I feel like you cannot change is, like you said, we are the vehicle of whatever business we're running. You know, the vision or the visionary stops at you, right? And it's like that's the one thing you cannot negotiate on, in my opinion. What am I personally training on? I've got an ultra marathon coming up in April. I'd like to get in. I feel like every time I verbalize it, it becomes more real. So I have to do it even more so. But I've got ultra marathon in April. Yeah. I'm planning on getting an Ironman in, or a 70.3 at the end of next year. And yeah, I just want to get in as much as I can. You know, it's very hard for me to just sit in the mirror and do bicep curls. It's not my
all the time. You need to like be like,
exactly.
I'm on it. I'm going. I'm making things happen. I've taken myself on a journey. I've done a Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
I've done no half marathons, but I was part of a run club, run them crew for a while. And then I'm a keen cyclist, so I often like to cycle around London when I'm in town, or cycle whenever I go away. So I think like having that routine and that sport that you enjoy, that your body enjoys as well, could be so powerful for clearing your mind, meeting new friends, and just feeling better. Like the endorphins that come from doing a really good cycle, really good movement is like quite powerful.
What do you think it gives you business wise? Like if you can hold it, what's that?
It's just space to think.
Yeah.
And space to think and time is the thing that is a fleeting object. So any way that you can buy up more time and come back clear, that's a very, very worthwhile investment. Yeah.
It's that sort of like post-workout sort of
facts.
cliche, but
Facts.
Yeah, I think it's like the habit or the sort of almost like the decision making in your mind, right? It's like I kind of want to stop now, or you know, just that sort of like thing. It's very easy to fall into it's cool to lay in, or it's cool to not do this today, or
Yeah.
And I think they're the big sort of like changes. They're little like 1%ers in your brain, and I think when you lean into that sort of like weird behavior, leaning into like training, I think it's very easy to live your life that way after. You know what I mean?
I agree. So what's next on the horizon for you guys in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, with Drops of Hill, we have a new product coming out, which we're hoping to take the stores by storm with. I see it being, without giving too much away, something that maybe we can fit into a meal deal.
Yep, love that.
Which is a huge UK favourite, and just getting better. Just like as I'm now dipping my toe into a bit more content, becoming a content boy. And yeah, I think like with this, I don't think it's ever a case of, this is an exciting time. Every day that I'm doing this, I'm really blessed. So I'm just pushing on and really trying to learn as much as I can from people like yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. And what is the vision for this business now with the new product coming out and stuff?
Yeah, the goal for Drops of Hill is to make it, essentially our mission is to change the way people take CBD and also how people actually care for themselves, right? Some people, for myself back in the day, if I didn't feel too good, I'm going for a run, or, I'm not necessarily going out to get my nails done or something, but some people do that for self-care.
Yeah.
And it's just another way of caring for yourself is what we want to do. I see Drops of Hill being like the go-to CBD food brand. So you might see Trip as the go-to CBD drink.
Yeah.
That's where I see Drops of Hill going. And in terms of my own entrepreneurship journey, it's just continuously looking at different channels and looking at different ventures and so on.
That makes sense. I just made a couple notes that I'm going to share with the team, as we like to make articles with all of our videos.
Yeah.
With some of the key gems. But I really love this conversation. We spoke about training, we spoke about your how and your why. And I love that. I love all of this stuff. This has been a really good journey for you, I think, so far.
It's been cool.
You have got a co-founder. You're building a team. I'm sure there's people at home right now thinking, what's it like working with Gordon Ramsay in 2023?
It's a privilege. Like,
Yeah.
I think people see Gordon as this sort of like no nonsense, and he is no nonsense. But it's. I think one thing that came to my mind was everyone sees this sort of like meme going around. Would you take a dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000? Right. In my situation, it's like, would I take a dinner with Gordon or consultancy from Gordon, or 150,000 and investment? And I kind of get both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. Like I'm really, I'm in a good position. I also have someone who knows the food market better than anyone. And again, the cosign and validation, like you said, it's like social proof, so that people look at and know that, this isn't, it's quite hard in our industry because some people are labeled.
Gatekeepers,
gatekeepers. Maybe to some extent down the line, you're looking at snake oil salesman. So this cosign, it's a validation of like the work that myself and my co-founder put in.
And tell us, finally but not least, how do we use the product?
Yes. So with the CBD olive oil, it's 1 tablespoon, it's 15 milligrams. Put it over your meal.
Not on the frying pan.
Not on the fry pan. No, that's a good one. Yeah, I got kicked up the arse for that. But yeah, this one, you just want to put it over, make a nice salad dressing over it. Some people make dips with it. Personally, I love it in a bit of hummus and chips. That's, So yeah, there's however you use your olive oil, except heating it, that's how you use this.
Love that.
But yeah, I can gift it to you on camera at least. Personally, there you go.
Thank you, my brother. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, man.
Guys, as you know, tune into Blocks of Bags. Please subscribe, like, and forward and share. It does really help us do more of this content. Drops of Hill. I've been your boy, signing out.